Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. We will be opening up the phone lines in probably about 15 to 30 minutes. So if anybody's calling in now, feel free to call right back or hang tight backstage. Oh, yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos, broadcasting to the world live from Phoenix, Arizona. Phone lines are wide open. You don't have to feel pressured to call, but if you want to, you can call in. Got a few, actually one case specifically that I'd like to go over out of Bellevue, Washington. Other than that, guys, we can talk about anything. Lots going on with the Delphi case. So everything is on the table. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. It's good to see everybody. Beth Gonzalez, Big Bird, what's up? Jerry, Timmy, Christine. Whoop. Julia broadcasting live from Lake Washington. You ever been to Bellevue, Washington? We have that's the case that I'm going to talk about today. This shit is wild. Hey, TC. Says, well, hello, Sleuth. How have you been? Lots to talk about. Chomo after Chomo. Yeah, you guys are not safe. These streets are not safe. Julia says, excuse me. What? Bellevue? Oh, you live in Bellevue? This place is beautiful. Yeah, this case is fucked up. Hey, what's up, farmer? But they did catch the guy, so that's the good news. Hey, kitty cat, what's up? Yeah, don't dox yourself. Cindy, what's up? I got overzealous. Don't worry, looks like a big place. Walla Walla? Walla Walla, Washington? Hey, none of your business. I have to come here because every other channel thinks Richard Allen is getting railroaded. And the police are covering up some Kennedy assassination level conspiracy. Well, of course. Right? Of course. It can't be little Ricky. It can't be little Richard. That would be too easy. Turquoise, what's up? You think they are treating Richard Allen with such kid gloves? What do you mean? Oh, why do you think they are treating Richard Allen with such kid gloves? When did I ever say that? I always like it when people false misquote me. I just love that. GP's in the building. How you doing? How was your weekend? Good to see you. Stacy, where the hell have you been? How the hell are you? Yeah, this was a quick weekend, but it was good. Julia says, I'm literally about to go on a lake. Is that dive or drive? In my new wetsuit and goggles, but dive. Oh shit. And goggles, but I need to listen to this one. Yeah, be safe. Something about being under the water scares the shit out of me. I turned into a pussy when I turned about 35. Like I used to climb mountains, I used to do all kinds of crazy shit. Jump off cliffs into the lakes, into the water. And then when I had kids, I was afraid of everything. I lost my nerves. Lived in Yakima for a few weeks. For a few weeks? Were you on the run? I'm not important enough for anyone to talk. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm like, this is Patrick Vallejos from Phoenix, Arizona. Who gives a shit? Oh, you went on a walk. Finally trained my dog to stop pulling on the damn leash. Farmer, I drive around in a wetsuit. Yeah, but you're stylish. You're a fashion misfit. Yeah, the weather's finally getting good. I think Monday will be our first day under 100 degrees. Can you believe that? See, now that's what I'm talking about. As a fisherman, that bothers the hell out of me. And that's just usually because I'm not catching anything and now I have something to blame it on, but I love that. Appreciate that. You can't help it when you grow up and your dad and your grandfather and your uncles, don't throw rocks in the water or don't disturb the water. You're scaring the fish. So if anybody comes near where you're at and they start splashing around, you got generations of men's voices in your back of your head, right? Like that astronaut lady in a diaper all angry. Oh yeah, that's a crazy case. Thanks for reminding me of that. I was trying to fucking when you're thinking of a case and you forget it, you get pissed off. Nice. Be careful out there. Okay. So, have you heard of this case then, Julia? His name is Kevin Sampson. Now, this shit really scared me. I have a lot of true crime knowledge. I've learned a lot about crime scenes, typology, criminology, psychology. And this story really scared me, especially as a father. So I have parts of actually multiple affidavits because he's been accused of a lot. But I think maybe we'll start with the video that was put out by Fox, and then we'll kind of chat about it. And I marked the areas that were mentioned in the affidavit on Google Maps. Bellevue is a beautiful place. When I pulled it up on the map, I was just like, wow. I think this guy was 36, I believe. 36 or 37. Let me see. I also have an article. Yeah, 36-year-old Kevin M. Sampson. You're going to talk about a creepy person. And then I want to talk about like the implications of this. It's a kind of a window into fledgling serial killers, their fledgling attempts. When I think of the beginning of a serial killer, I think of this guy, or this guy reminds me of what a serial killer looks like before they start to develop their quote unquote skills, right? It's interesting. Yeah, this one's nuts. So I'm just kind of giving everybody an opportunity to show up here. So I'll probably play this video first. It's terrifying. Hey, what's up, Boston? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, let me pull up this map. See if you're anywhere near this. Let me share my screen with you guys. Okay, so this looks like Clyde Hill. Hold on. I hate when that happens. There we go. Okay. So Clyde Hill. Between Clyde Hill and I don't know what it is. What's up, Julia?
Hey, okay, this is like way too coincidental right now. I'm literally at, I don't want to say which park, but it's a park in Clyde Hill. Like,
Are you serious?
I am not even joking right now. Like, if I had a way to share my location with like just you, Sleuth, personally, I would like prove it. But I'm not even joking right now. Like, this is nuts.
So then you know where. Can you see the screen?
Where what is?
Can you see the screen?
Okay, wait. Yes.
So this is where this guy's little crime spree happened.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna email you the exact park I'm at.
That's wild. What are the odds of that? Hey, Cryptex, what's up? How you doing? What you up to?
Self and you can do your thing obviously, but I was just like freaking out right now because this is just so weird.
Oh shit, where's my phone? I think I left my phone on the dinner table. Hold on, guys. Don't go nowhere. Did you want me to pull your screen up there? I almost read it out loud. I'm so stupid. Oh, wow. That's crazy. What's up, Cindy? All right, let me play this video so you guys know what the hell I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. But yeah, play it.
Okay, here we go.
On the right there. On the right there slowly creaks open to reveal a ghoulish figure standing there watching people sleep. It's like something out of a horror movie. Bellevue police say there were 6 people in the house at the time, including kids.
It is a big concern for us, and that's why this is so out of the ordinary, and it's actually really scary.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm David Rose. That serial home burglary suspect is in jail, accused of breaking into multiple houses in the middle of the night. But even though King County prosecutors have charged him with 14 felonies, including 4 residential burglaries in that same neighborhood, he has not been charged with that haunting home break-in that is the stuff of nightmares. After word spread in Bellevue's Lakemont neighborhood about this serial home burglar breaking into houses in the middle of the night, this homeowner's wife couldn't sleep.
I woke up and I realized she wasn't there. So I went downstairs and I see her glued to her screen looking at camera footage.
Laurent says everyone was freaked out after his cameras caught the first burglary at his neighbor's house.
It's clear that you hear him jump from the neighbor's deck and you can see him run to his car 1 minute after the alarm rang.
Then he says his wife spotted the suspect return.
She's like, Laurent, he's here, he's here, he's here. We saw him go around the cul-de-sac, slowly park, and then come out and look at houses that were behind us.
She called 911 with a description of the gray GMC Yukon, and officers responded quickly.
He initially left his vehicle and then went running into a neighborhood.
Bellevue police say the burglar eluded them that night after he abandoned his vehicle and fled on foot. They impounded the SUV, and court documents say surveillance images helped them identify the driver as Kevin Sampson. The next day, Sampson showed up to pick up his SUV with a story, claiming a friend had borrowed it, even showing officers Instagram messages he said he got from the friend that read, "Yo, bro, Marquis said your car got towed," to which he replied, "Where?" and got the reply, "In Bellevue," said he parked and walked away from it. Detectives say it was all a lie and that Sampson started a fake Instagram account and was actually messaging himself. Officers arrested him and then started piecing together a troubling pattern of escalation, finding 2 charges for indecent exposure. The first incident on November 28th, when police say he summoned a 16-year-old girl to the Jeep he was driving and exposed himself. The most recent occurred on January 30th, when officers arrested Sampson at the Factoria Mall in the same blue-colored Jeep Grand Cherokee, after officers say he got the attention of a woman and exposed himself. Then in June, a suspect in that same exact blue Jeep tried to kidnap a woman in Kent, physically picking her up and putting her in the vehicle.
Hey, Kelly.
Her friend intervened and helped her escape. Police were not able to identify Sampson as the suspect. Then in August, this terrifying home burglary caught on video at 2 a.m.
You see the suspect literally enter into a main bedroom and then look into the bed, see that these folks are sleeping, and then walk out. That's scary
I would have blew that motherfucker
After the door
away.
closes, the video shows the homeowner get up and follow the suspect. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, but a handgun was stolen. In all, Detective Jeff Christensen detailed evidence in the court documents to tie Sampson to 4 home burglaries, locating good images of him pawning a stolen Louis Vuitton purse, using stolen credit cards, and video of him cashing stolen checks for thousands of dollars.
Under 2410648873, is your true and correct name Kevin Michael Sampson?
Yes.
At his arraignment, prosecutors laid out multiple felony charges.
Counts 1, 2, and 3, identity
What's up,
theft in the
Lone Pony?
first degree, residential burglary, attempting to elude or pursuing police vehicle, identity theft in the second degree, trafficking and stolen property in the first degree.
Sampson is facing 14 felony counts in all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Come on, Kevin.
The only case the prosecutor would not pursue charges on was this one, even though Sampson's cell phone pinged 50 feet from the house.
What's up, David?
When I look at the cases and the preponderance of evidence, and I see that you've charged him with multiple burglaries in that neighborhood in the middle of the night, why won't you charge him with the creepiest of the cases where he's allegedly on camera?
All right, you guys pay attention to this because I think this is going to give us some insight into the Delphi case. So listen to what they say here about this.
Why won't you charge him with the creepiest of the cases where he's allegedly on camera in the bedroom of the people's house?
We don't have clear evidence that shows him in that bedroom. If we did, it would be a very different story.
Casey McNerthney with the King County Prosecutor's Office says the video of the suspect is not clear enough to identify Sampson.
It's not at all a reluctance of prosecutors. It's the legal standard and the evidence we have so far. Even if we tried to get this before a jury, which we couldn't do ethically, but if we tried to do that, it wouldn't be approved by the court because we don't have the evidence to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
How many?
Doesn't that make you think of Libby's video of the bridge guy? You think that's like the same situation? Made me think of that.
Surveillance cameras do you have around your house?
We have 8.
Laurent says neighbors are talking more since the burglaries, and he's planning to install cameras closer to the street. He says everyone's happy that Sampson is in jail, but they've all learned an important lesson. Cameras that get clear video can make all the difference.
The silver lining is that all the neighbors now are upgrading their camera systems and are talking to each other on how we have better coverage of the street with our cameras.
In many cases, police say he got in through unlocked doors and windows. Sampson was booked
Lock
into
your
jail on
doors.
September 19th. He remains behind bars on $160,000 bail.
That's all I got to say, guys. Lock your doors. Yeah, that's crazy, Julia. That is nuts that you're like literally right there. Now, let me pull this up. So to me, this is the beginnings of a serial killer. And I don't know if you're still there, Julia, but your mic, you're muted. Let's see. So imagine a guy who's been flashing teenagers, attempting to kidnap women, is now inside your home in the middle of the night with your children. There you are.
Hi,
Hey,
what's up? Live from Clyde Hill.
let me pull this up a little bit bigger so people can see. I wish I could put you like on a full screen. Can I? Let me see.
I don't know. It's hard to
Oh.
see. It's very dark.
There you
here.
go.
I don't know how to do I don't know. This is Clyde Hill.
What? So that is right here. Can you see?
So I'm on my front camera. I don't know how to switch it. I don't know if I can on StreamYard. But
Okay, so the Bellevue downtown park is right by you.
yes, that's right by
Got
me. But I'm in Clyde Hill, which is, it's pretty much downtown Bellevue. So there's 3 parks. There is Bellevue Downtown Park, which is right across from Bellevue Square, and then there is Maidenbower Park.
Okay, that's what I'm looking at right now. This is
Okay.
Maidenbower Bay. You're not there.
I'm not there. No, I'm at the.
Okay.
I'm leaving right now, so I don't care if people know. But I'm at Clyde Hill Beach Park, which is where I've been like this whole time, which is really.
I can't really
kind of
see where
eerie,
that's at.
It's a very small.
Is it
park.
north? Is it north of Maiden?
Yes, it's a little bit north.
All right, I'm sure it's somewhere right here.
Yeah, it's very tiny. So Maidenbower Beach Park is the bigger one, and then you go a little bit north, there's Clyde Hill Beach Park, and then you go even a little bit further north, and then there's Viewpoint Park or something like that. But it's all like in the same little inlet on Lake Washington.
And you didn't hear about this story?
I get like a lot of news alerts. I mean, I live in the obviously greater Seattle area, so I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention. No, I didn't hear about it. I just looked it up now. I saw it was like from 4 days ago, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So I mean, we have like a lot of, you know, like break-ins and such,
Oh, really?
just in general. So I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to like stuff like that.
This area looks beautiful.
It is. No, it's great. It's expensive, but it's great. It's, I would say safe, but apparently nobody's safe. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's a great place to live, and so don't let this.
No, this happens everywhere.
Yeah.
But this also is like, just because you live in a nice neighborhood doesn't mean you should leave your doors unlocked or your windows
Oh no,
open.
of course not. I've never gotten that like, you know how when people say like, oh, we live in a community where we always left our doors unlocked until this happened. I've never lived in a community where I would ever, I don't care where I live, I'm never leaving my doors unlocked.
Well, my grandparents lived in a small town, and everybody left there. I mean, there was absolutely no crime there. But those are the places where really horrible things happen out of nowhere.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think, I don't know. Maybe it's just different times. Maybe I watch too much true crime. I hear too much for my job, so I don't trust
Oh
anybody.
yeah, I drive my wife crazy. You know, I'm like, are those windows locked?
You're right.
Are they locked?
Oh my
I
gosh.
think so. No, are they locked?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'll never understand it. I mean, I get it, but I can't understand it on a personal level why anybody would ever leave their doors unlocked. That's just me. I see too much. I hear too much.
I just take it for granted.
Yeah.
Welcome in Vertigo Brain, David Arthur. Who else did I miss? Susan and I think Mark Evans. Good to see you guys. So what'd you think about them saying that so they charged him with all these other crimes, right? Except for the one where he's caught on camera in the room. And they're saying that they can't even present it in court because it's not very clear. Like they know it's him. Everybody knows it's him.
Huh.
Isn't that weird?
I mean, okay. Yeah. So wait, what were the other crimes that they charged him with? Just the burglary?
No, let's see here. While conducting additional investigations into Sampson, discovered information regarding sexually motivated crimes recently committed by Sampson, which are of particular concern. So he was exposing himself to young girls, children, two separate cases where he tried to kidnap one of the girls, and then he tried to kidnap a woman. He literally picked her up off the ground and was carrying her.
I guess, I don't know, maybe they take eyewitness accounts more seriously than actual footage.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
kind
could
of
have
like the
used it.
Delphi thing.
They use these cameras like this one right here. They said this is good. They're going to be able to use this against him. He was charged for this one.
Oh, okay.
Because it's clear. But the one where he's actually in the room, which is the most terrifying of them all, he didn't get charged for that.
Wait, so real quick, how did they identify him just based on this photo?
Well, this isn't the only photo. They also had his vehicle. He had to abandon his vehicle. The cops showed up. He left his vehicle, and when he went to pick it up, he created a fake social media account, and he started communicating with it. And he tried to use that to kind of lie to police, saying, "Hey, I let my friend borrow my vehicle," when really he just made up the account. And he used it to not get charged when he went to pick up his vehicle, but they knew it was him. And then they matched him, of course, with this video footage.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I caught bits and pieces of that. I was drying off. Yeah, no, that's interesting. For sure.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy coincidence. Yeah, no, I mean, I probably saw it like pop up on my like I'm on that like neighborhood next door app and everything, but I don't know how much you know about Bellevue, but there's a lot of, I guess best way to describe it would be Karens. We got a lot of Karens out here, so I don't really like put much weight into it. And also in Seattle there's like a lot of crime in general, so I don't.
We get a lot of like around holidays. Did you hear those gunshots? And then everybody making fun of them, like that's fireworks. Like, hello, it's 4th of July. You know,
right?
Did you guys hear that explosion?
Oh my God, I see that too. I'm like, nope, that's a car backfiring, but whatever.
Yeah, but we had a sexual assault
Ooh.
nearby, so we were all panicking. But they got him in like a day.
Was it like a not that it makes it any better, but was it like a personal thing, or was it just like some rando?
Just some rando. Like he was like walking to the store, and on his way to the store, he like groped a woman that was jogging.
Oh God, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, those are killers. You know what I mean? These are people who are working their way up to something really, really bad.
Oh, absolutely. No, I was at the bar last night, and some like super drunk guy just came up and randomly like groped me like inappropriately, and I just like slid to the end, and then like some other guys like came in and like intervened, but that's not always the way it goes, unfortunately. Like if you're alone, like that's terrifying.
Well, it reminded me of did you ever hear of the Cash Gernon case?
The Cash, I don't think so. What was that one?
Here, let me play this video for you guys.
Okay.
So there's two cases that it reminded me. It reminded me of the Cash Gernon case, and then that creepy guy Stephen McDaniel. But we'll watch this one first.
Okay.
A man charged with murdering a 4-year-old Dallas boy after taking that sleeping child from his bed will not stand trial anytime soon. Hello, I'm Steve Eager.
And I'm Heather Hayes. Darian Brown was declared incompetent for trial. Police say Brown kidnapped 4-year-old Cash Gernon and repeatedly stabbed him. The boy's body was found on a neighborhood street. Fox 4's Alex Boyer takes us through the latest in this case. Alex.
Okay, let me show you guys the CCTV footage. This is very disturbing, FYI. So he was already in bed. That's his big brother. In walks this fucking guy. How scary is this?
Where did he come from? The window?
No, I think he came in through the garage, and he like jimmied open the garage door. He's been in this house before, so he knew that it didn't quite lock right. It may have even been open.
See, one of my biggest fears is that somebody's going to be like hiding in my attic or something, and then I'll get home and then they're just waiting until like I come downstairs or something like that.
No, that's a fear of mine. There's a movie about that. Have you seen that?
Like Froggers? It's not, I don't think it's, I'm sure there's probably a few.
No, it's a Gary Busey movie, and he like before this family moves in, he sneaks into the attic and he like builds a false wall.
Oh my God.
And he's living on the other side of the wall, and when the family goes to sleep, he like creeps down and like watches them, and it's really creepy.
There's this Lifetime show called Frogging, like something like that. It's of like real life accounts of people who have had like people come break into their homes and like live there for, you know, a certain amount of time. Some of them aren't violent, and then some of them are actually like crazy disturbing.
Yeah, that's terrifying. And that's one of my fears too. I always check my attic. Like one time we had this guy, he was installing, I think it was might have been fiber optic internet, and he used his own phone number to like access our internet, and I got really upset with him. And I asked him why he did that, and he's like, "Well, that's the only way I can activate it." And I told him to remove it in front of me. Because he could have come back. Yeah, he could have come back and accessed our cameras and shit, you know?
Ew.
Did you see that? That boy was found the following day stabbed to death.
Oh. Did he ever like say a motive? Did anything come of that?
Well, before this happened, he was like that other guy. He was like, this isn't him. This is the stepdad. But he was like breaking into homes and doing very similar things as that Kevin Sampson guy in Bellevue.
Ew.
So this is the stepdad kind of trying to figure out where the hell he is. Like, where'd he go?
Oh my gosh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. And I don't know if he's even gone through trial yet because he's been deemed incompetent. So it reminded me of that case, and then also this other case. Do you know anything about the Stephen McDaniel case?
I don't think so.
Let me see if I have something on that.
The day after Lauren Giddings was reported missing in June of 2011.
Lauren
Reporter
Giddings.
Michelle Casada found him standing outside the apartment building where he and Giddings had lived, and that we now know was the scene of the crime. He talks about joining Giddings' friends to look for his law school classmate and how they entered her apartment to see if there was anything wrong. It was also the first time McDaniel found out that a portion of Lauren Giddings' body had been recovered by police from the dumpster where he had put it. Knowing now that McDaniel had murdered and dismembered Giddings, the interview provides a glimpse inside the mind of a killer as he builds his story and his alibi. Take a look.
Person that was living there? Yeah, Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I mean, the last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
Did you see her hang out with anyone at the time or anything like that?
I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I haven't seen anything. I mean, you always hear noise outside, but it's just people walking by pretty much.
And she just recently graduated from Mercer?
Yeah, she and I we were both JD students. We graduated back in May.
What kind of person was she? I mean, what did you see her?
I mean, she's as nice as can be. I mean, very personable, very much a people person.
Do you know any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, we don't know where she is. I mean, the only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. Because we went over. One of her friends had a key. We went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss, but I mean, she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. I mean, the door was locked when everyone got here. I mean, we just don't know where she is.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of. I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body.
Had you heard any? Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like,
he
they
chopped
took
her
out
up.
body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's how we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
So this guy was doing the same thing. He was like creeping into her home. I think I have a video of that actually that they recovered from his apartment. Let's see here. So I think this was the day of the murder that he killed Laura Giddings. This is him like kind of creeping on her. And he was the maintenance guy. He had a key to her apartment. Like, what the fuck? Can you believe that? And that's what ended up happening. He snuck into her home and he was watching her sleep, and she woke up and panicked. And then he freaked out and strangled her and then cut her up. And I think I have his interrogation video somewhere. It's really fucking disturbing. Somewhere around here. At least I think I do. Oh yeah, here it is. Controlling the narrative. Kind of had it hidden away.
Me and you talked, all right. You don't have any weapons on you, do you?
No.
That's just you are. What's wrong? You know Detective Patterson, right?
Yes.
Do you remember? Put your hands up here. You remember us talking earlier tonight, right?
Yes.
You remember me?
Thanks for the
today?
email, Juliet.
Yes.
We came down here and talked a little bit, and then we left.
Yes.
Okay. I need to know about this girl right here. You know her?
What's up, Truffles?
Yes.
Who is that?
Lauren Giddings.
Does she live next door to you?
Yes.
When's the last time you seen her?
2 or 3 weeks ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Was
He's
you
like
friends
trying
with
to
Lauren?
stay
Yes.
monotone.
Look at me when you talk to me, son. Okay? Was you friends with her?
Yes.
Close friends?
We were good.
I mean, y'all were friends, right? Both of
Yes.
y'all are law students. You're studying to be an attorney, right?
Yes.
What kind of law do you want to go into? Criminal law?
Yes.
Civil? Is that what you want to do for a living?
Yes.
Okay. Are you almost finished?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't have too much more to do, right?
No.
All right. Are you going to stay here in Macon?
I don't know.
Did you used to work at the district attorney's office in Macon?
Yes.
Was you on the prosecutor side or the defense side?
Prosecutor.
So you were on our side.
Yes.
Right. You never worked on the other side?
No.
Did you like it when you were down there?
Yes.
Got along with everybody?
What's up, Jari?
Okay. And you've lived next to Lauren for a long time?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Mark. What I'm seeing with these types of people who are like sneaking into homes and watching people and attempted kidnappings, I feel like all serial killers started out that way. Like a series of attempted abductions, a series of burglaries, things like that. And then they kind of start figuring out, because their ultimate goal is to fulfill this sick fantasy, right? And they're trying to figure out how to get their hands on a victim. Like, how do I get to these victims and not get caught? And it's like trial and error. So it really scares me when I see this, because it reminds me of people like this right here. Welcome back, Julia.
Hey. Sorry, I had to mute it for like the traffic noise and everything.
No worries. Welcome in, Aquarian. Good to see you, Cindy. So yeah, what we were talking about is just kind of like fledgling attempts and the makings of a serial killer. That's what this reminds me of. You know, I feel like all serial killers, this is how they started out. Burglary attempts, stalking people, watching people sleep, attempted kidnappings, things like that. Yeah, lock your doors, guys. Here, let me read this article here. And I'll put it up on the screen for you guys. So this is Bellevue Beat blog, official blog of the Bellevue, Washington Police Department. And Bellevue is beautiful. Suspect arrested for alleged nighttime burglary crimes after attempting to retrieve vehicle at Bellevue PD. While attempting to retrieve his impounded gray GMC SUV at the Bellevue Police Department, 36-year-old Kevin M. Sampson was arrested by BPD, Special Operations Group, for allegedly conducting a series of nighttime burglaries, with some crimes occurring while the victims slept in their beds. So this is the guy here. This is his crime spree. And I have it up on the map. And Julia was literally like right over here somewhere a minute ago.
Yeah.
Being crazy.
I'm
diving
still there.
in the water.
Hey, it's what I do.
Hey, you're
I
crazy.
know. I won't lie. I'm instead of walking home, I'm getting a lift because now I'm spooked.
Yes, please.
And it's too dark also.
So it looks like he went from 171st Avenue all the way over to, well, from Clyde Hill to, it looks like Lake Sammamish. Did I say that right? State Park? Sammamish? I think that might be how you say it. But yeah, here's his crime spree. All through here, he tried to abduct a woman. He literally picked her up and tried to carry her away. But her friend thankfully intervened. And then he also tried to kill a teenager and exposed himself to 2 teenage girls, like a young.
Oh my gosh, it keeps stripping me out at like the worst times right now. I was gonna correct you, Lake Sammamish.
Yeah, Sammamish. So I got it right before you corrected me.
Oh, okay.
I was all proud of myself. I was like, okay,
Well,
Sammamish.
No, that's coincidentally where I grew up, and that's where my mom met Ted Bundy.
Yeah, he's from here, isn't he?
I don't know if he's from here. I just know like she encountered him there.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, no, it's wild. Apparently, I have a lot of true crime.
Well, Washington in general is like a hot spot.
Oh yeah, no, Gary Ridgway, Ted Bundy.
Mhm.
We got them all here. So.
Yep.
But
Well,
we
I
have
can.
other cool places too.
Well, I can see why, because it's beautiful. You know, they're probably attracted to it just like everybody else, and then nighttime comes and they start drinking or doing whatever it is that they do.
Right. Maybe something.
But yeah, that's what these crimes were reminding me of, like fledgling serial killer, the beginnings of a serial killer, attempted kidnappings and things like that.
It's really scary to think about, and think about all those people who haven't been caught also.
Yeah, like all these missing people.
Well, I was more saying like about like the ring cams and stuff. You see that you never catch them. Like, I wonder what they're up to. I mean, you always, I shouldn't say in general, but like for me, growing up, I'd always think it was just like some petty crimes, just like some kids going around, like kind of, I don't know. I know there's a term for it, but I think it came up in the Cassie case where those 2 guys who played like they planned their. Okay, my Lyft driver is gonna think I'm insane by saying this out loud. Sorry for saying.
Are you talking about the Scream?
Yes,
murders?
the Scream ones. Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to filter myself so I don't ruin anybody's night.
Oh yeah.
Unsolicited. But yeah, so those ones where there was a term that those 2 boys used, and it was their it was kind of like what they said to the cops when they left Cassie's, and were like they were going around just like pulling on car doors to like check if they're open or not. And I think they used a term for it that I wasn't familiar with at all. But I mean, I'm sure they've done that before. I mean, they knew the term for it, that's for sure. And so I'm sure there's so many, kids and adults alike that go around doing stuff like that, that's not all they do. I mean, and this is a great example of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're like trying to figure out, they're trying to find their niche, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their MO. They're trying to figure out which
Right
MO.
here. Thank you. Yes, I'm sure. Thank you. You too. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mute. I think I just ruined his night. there
you weren't
goes
trying
my
to
Uber
you weren't
rating.
trying to scare your Uber. Oh yeah, the scream
Yeah,
murders.
he just screeched out of here. He's like, goodbye.
He's like, I may have been in danger. What's up, Big Fish? Welcome in. Lone Pony, welcome in. Camaro Lover, how are you? I seen this after it happened. I was friends with one of the kids that lived there. Which one was that, Camaro? Oh yeah, you're talking about what the hell is his name? Darian Brown is his name. And he kidnapped and murdered Gash Gurnan. He may have even been I think he took an insanity plea. Thanks, GP. What's up, Jill Moser? I don't know. I wonder how many times like somebody was looking in our windows and we didn't even know about it. You know what I mean? Like we're just watching TV and somebody's like watching you. That's what these cases remind me of. You ever just get the feeling like somebody's watching you? Maybe they are. Hey, what's up, Red Queen? No, the dad left the twin boys at his ex-girlfriend's. Okay, yeah, you're right. That wasn't the stepfather. That was the ex-girlfriends. You're right about that. Thank you, Camaro. 100%. They were babysitting. You're right. Hey, Piper. How you doing? We are discussing anything and everything. We'll probably hang out for another 30 minutes. You guys are welcome to call in. I have Julia here. She scared her Uber driver. I think she's on mute right now. But yeah, she's here in studio.
Oh yeah, I'm getting 0 stars on that ride, that's for sure.
I think we have True Crime Sages joining in. Welcome in, True Crime Sages.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me tonight?
Yeah, I can hear you. A little low, but I can hear you fine.
Okay, well, you were talking about fledgling killers, and I wanted to read you something from Psychology Today.
Yeah, let's hear it.
See if you can tell me who this reminds you of. So, a neophyte serial killer who was traumatized as a child will seek to avoid painful relationships with other human beings as an adult. He will particularly seek to avoid painful relationships with those he desires or covets. Such fear of rejection may compel a fledgling serial killer to want to eliminate any objects of his affection. He may come to believe that by destroying the person he desires prior to entering into a relationship with them, he can eliminate the frightening possibility of being abandoned, humiliated, or otherwise hurt by someone he loves, as he was in childhood. So who does that sound like?
Sounds like Richard Allen.
Bingo.
Gary Ridgway.
Bingo.
Definitely
Edmund
Gary Ridgway.
Ted Bundy, David Berkowitz, Joe Rifkin.
Yeah, and it was near Valentine's Day too, when
yeah.
in regards to Delphi. And neophyte just means beginner, I think, or novice.
Yes, it's just a novice, somebody new to the game.
Yeah, fledgling.
Yes, so that's why I brought it up, because
Yeah, very interesting.
Fledgling. So psychologically speaking, it makes sense why. Okay, so he has to eliminate the possibility of rejection or being humiliated. So it would make sense why he was sorry for one and not the other.
Yeah, that would make sense. And I often wonder if he was targeting Abby to begin with.
Well, I mean, most people that end up in that way do stalking, and they tend to have interests in people that are someone who perhaps they can't have. So I hate to say this, but if you look at Libby and you look at Richard's daughter, they look a lot alike.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So psychologically speaking, you know, he talks about how, oh, are you going to leave me? Are you going to leave me? Are you going to leave me? Are you going to forget after this? So, I mean, who's this real desire to sexually target and or kill?
Damn.
And that's one of the reasons why I still suspect him of the possibility of Elizabeth and Lyric, because at a very young age, his child also looked like Lyric Cook.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they're very, very similar. And the way the scene was set up, and you think about this, very close to his house.
And he was traveling at that time as well.
Exactly.
A lot of the investigators who are kind of working on that case, they don't believe that. But I disagree.
He has relatives up there.
And then the date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if he committed his first murders, let's say in Evansdale, hypothetically, right? We don't know for sure, or there's a connection, but it's very strange. If he committed them on that, it would make sense that his next attempt or his next, I don't know, a murder attempt or whatever would be the reverse of those dates.
It would make sense also that, you know, his daughter's older. Those girls were older.
Yep.
Okay.
And they actually, yeah.
A lot of things would make sense, psychologically speaking. Does that make him guilty? No, we have to wait and see what the evidence says in court.
And the date could also explain why he was forcing it. You know, it seems forced, like in the middle of the daytime. It's like almost like maybe he had to do it, you know, in order to fulfill his fantasy or whatever.
And that was going to be my next point was, you know, the escalation of the fantasy. If the first one wasn't as fulfilling, we'll try it on the next one. And I mean, with serial killers, they advance their escalation to get the same excitement that they did the first time.
And the girls were exactly the amount of time that it was 5 years from Evansdale to Delphi. And those victims were just about, Abby and Libby were just about 5 years older than Lyric and Elizabeth. So 5 years apart. And then also the age were 5 years apart of the victims.
You know, it's interesting. Okay, so you talked about the other person that you're still in contact with. It's kind of a wackadoo. He was stationed in the military out there at that time.
Oh, are you talking about Julian?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. That's an interesting... I don't talk about it a whole lot, but it's something that I still am very interested in, you know, privately.
And so you've got also Kagan Klein.
And they're connected as well. Did you know that they were connected?
Yes. Traveling back and forth between there and out to see his mother in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
That was something I was going to ask you guys. Do you think there's any Klein connection still?
I think it's possible.
I think I just got a feeling there might be.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't think that you're going to get the truth out of Kagan Klein. He's a pathological liar. But at the same time, I think there's a connection to a lot of them. So, you know, James Bryan Chadwell his grandpa actually lived a block away from
Tony
Klein's.
Yep. Yeah, he got arrested doing a beer run right up the street from the Klein home.
Yeah, he knew him well. And right directly across the street from Tony and Kagan was another child molester who was arrested. And so
Ripken.
Yeah, there were, yes. There, so far, from my understanding, there's been like 50 arrests.
Wow, Washington's not looking so bad now. Way to go, Indiana.
Well, statistically speaking, about 1 in 10 have these fantasies, but most don't act out on them. So what does that say?
Wait, can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Like 1 in 10 men have sexually dominating fantasies. But I'm not saying necessarily children, okay? But some sort of addiction or sexual addiction.
Like sexual
1 in
sadism?
10. Not sadism, not necessarily. It could be a lot of things. But 1 in 10 men have sexual addiction. I'm not saying pedophilia. That's very different. Paraphilia is very different. But 1 in 10 have some sort of sexually deviant fantasy. Now, most men don't act out on that. When you're looking at serial killers, you have the McDonald triad. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, that's wetting the bed after 12, arson, and then I believe animal abuse.
Killing animals, yeah. And I mean, that's when, if they do all three, you can almost guarantee, especially if they were abandoned or abused or grew up.
Trauma to the brain, to the frontal lobe as well.
Yes. You can almost guarantee, you know.
Yeah, there's a high likelihood.
Yeah.
It's not guaranteed that if you fall under all those categories that, you know, you're a serial killer, you know, but
it's not guaranteed, but it's pretty close.
yeah. Welcome in, Louise. Good to have you back.
So your friend there's from Bellevue, Washington. Is she familiar with Shelley Hale?
I think we lost her.
Julia left?
Her phone keeps cutting in. She'll probably be right back. Yeah, it's very interesting that you brought that up. Yeah, here she is. Did you hear that question?
Yes, I do not know who that is. I'm sorry. I'm at the store, and of course, every single time I try to chime in and stream.
I worked with Shelley for a lot of years. She worked for King County Search and Rescue for 25 years.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not familiar with her. I'm not sure who that is, but that's awesome.
Interesting. She used to live in Clyde Hill, and then she moved to Bellevue. So,
sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to come out and come back in because my headphones keep messing up. And
yeah, no worries.
I'll be right back.
Sure. So
anyway,
you're
case
go
out
ahead.
there that comes to mind is Sky Metawalla, Julia Burriskaya. That's one of the last ones I worked on out there.
What was it? I'm sorry.
Sky Metawalla. Little boy that went missing.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can pull that up. What's going on with that case?
It's at a stalemate.
Yeah, that was sent to me by one of my members to kind of look into that. Let me pull it up on the screen here. Sky Elijah Metawalla disappeared from Bellevue, Washington.
Yeah, and his daddy's looking for him, and Mama.
2011.
Yeah, I can't say anymore. But on that note, getting back to, Delphi, there's a lot that you talk about, and it's usually a person's first impression of what they think of when they think of serial killers. But is he, in my opinion, there's a great probability. But in Delphi in particular, he was prepared to go out there and kill that day. And whomever did this, if it is Richard Allen, but he can't get around saying that he's Bridge Guy. We all know he's Bridge Guy.
Mm-hmm.
We know he was out there. We know he was carrying a gun.
And he was smart enough not to use it.
No, but he ejected the bullet.
Yeah.
So how can he deny being at the scene? And furthermore, why would he have his scarf up over his face when other people see him? That
So
all
you're
goes
talking
to
about it being premeditated?
Absolutely. He was prepared to kill. And again, if you read, the psychology behind it, paranoid, a lot of serial killers have very low self-esteem. They know their shit. They have a very low self-esteem, and they want to,
And psychopathy too doesn't help.
Well, in some people like Ted Bundy, it angers them. And other people, or Richard Ramirez, he's another one.
Oh, he was very angry and hateful.
He was satanic.
Oh yeah. Well, he was kind of raised by a bunch of killers.
Please.
He was raised by killers. Ramirez.
Yeah, he was openly satanic.
Yep.
And there's a lot of satanic stuff that goes on in this country, which is beyond disgusting. A lot of cult, children trafficked into cults and
Sacrificed.
baby sacrifices. Yeah, lots of horrible, horrific things.
But usually when there's a sacrifice like that, we're not even going to know about it. Well, they're just missing to us.
Well, I mean, again, getting back to the border, 321,000 missing as of the Homeland Security report.
Yep.
And you don't hear anything about it on the mainstream media. A report came out in August, now they're saying there are upwards of 350,000 that they're aware of. Where did the kids go? They're being trafficked. They admitted it in front of Congress. But
Yeah, we're living in some fucked up times. We have to be honest about that.
Mainstream media, you won't hear mainstream media say anything about it. These are the same people who tell you, it's okay to kill babies.
Well, that's who's paying their salaries,
Right. But and men don't have a say over a woman's body. But in the same breath, they'll tell you that a man can be a woman.
Yeah, politics is
How does that make sense?
Well, it doesn't. That's kind of what Satanism is. It's kind of taking everything that's godly and just kind of flipping it upside down. That's why you have the cross upside down.
Yeah, exactly. Getting back to this case, though, I just wanted to share that with you because you brought up fledgling killer several times.
Yeah, doesn't that remind you of that? Like the beginnings of a
Yeah.
serial killer?
Yeah, the stalking in particular.
Yep, attempted kidnappings, also reminds me of the Zodiac, how a lot of his early murders, he was like flashing people down and getting them to pull over.
Yeah.
And then people like Ted Bundy and Gary Ridgway, I guarantee they had very similar things. And then they realized, well, if I just go pick up a prostitute, they'll get in the car with me.
Well, with a lot of serial killers, when they're choosing their victims, it's victims of vulnerability. But what's interesting about Delphi, those girls were out on that trail. How did he know they would be out on that trail? Okay, he could have been stalking them, but, for some reason, and I can't let go of this, I feel like he saw a connection somehow, somewhere between Kagan Klein and Libby German.
Yeah, how does your mind just not go to that? You come to the terms with the fact that it appears to be a premeditated crime or pre-planned, and that the girls were targeted. Then you have to ask yourself, okay, well, how were they targeted? Well, they were communicating with Anthony Schatz, who we now know the creator of it is a sick pedophile.
Right.
So, it's just so hard to believe that they're not connected and that he didn't use, Keegan Klein to target these girls or begin communicating with them.
Right, and I don't know if the police can go down that avenue without having the evidence.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right?
Right. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means that they may not be able to prove it happened.
Yep, I agree with that.
So, know, if you step back and take a look at the big picture of all of the child molesters in that one area, you said there's a lot, but it's not really a lot. That is a lot for an area of murders and child molesters in an area of about 10,000 people.
But the scary thing is that's for any area. You can
But
point
it's
your
not,
finger on a map and we put it under a microscope, you're going to find the same thing.
not how many people have they arrested for murder in just that area?
Dozens.
That is not typical. I beg to differ. I grew up in one of the most crime-ridden areas in the nation per capita, and that is not normal.
Well, every case that I've been covering all over the country, in some places across the sea, overseas. One thing I like to do is pull up these sexual offenders, the registered sex offenders, and I look at their cases and see how they might relate, to these missing people. And
Sex offenders are very different than sex offenders who kill.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just using that as an example. That's just where I begin. But most places, once I put them under the microscope, like I do Delphi, it's very similar. You can maybe even pick your own. I've even done it to my own area, and it's still very similar.
Statistically speaking, most child molesters don't kill their victims.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about specifically child molesters. I'm just talking about child molesters, murders, crime in general.
And I'm specifically referring to Chomo, and every single one of them fitting this demographic.
Well, those are child molesters.
Not just child molesters.
But you said Chomo.
Referring to child molesters, you didn't let me finish. Child molesters that are capable of committing these specific types of crimes. Psychologically speaking, that narrows the focus. And in that particular area, what I'm saying is it's vast, which is terrifying. If I lived in Delphi, I'd move.
Yeah, they found what was that guy's name? John Blaze, who was also communicating with Libby. Did you hear about that?
No, I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah, they kind of mentioned him in Hannah Shakespeare's little documentary.
Yeah.
But they found another man who was a convicted sex offender and a felon, and he was like in his 60s, and he was reaching out and trying to communicate with Libby as well.
Yeah. I think they had a Dropbox share somewhere, dark web. I still believe that. And I almost have to believe that. And what I was getting to is if you step back and look at the situation, all of them that were arrested because of this set of girls who were murdered in that video she took. How were they connected? And how did they make those connections? That's what you have to ask yourself.
Well, sextortion in a lot of cases.
There has to be. And I don't know if you've watched any of our videos. I mean, Belinda and I covered a lot of this stuff, but when you go back from the very beginning, we've been saying that one of the reasons I didn't want to work on this was because I just kept getting Chomo. Good Lord, is it ever going to stop? You're an intuitive, so when you focus in on that one thing, you've got it almost in a lock until it's confirmed for you.
Yep.
Well, with this one, I got the face within a couple of days after I was called, but and the profile in my head, but then I kept getting Chomo. I'm like, holy shit.
I get inappropriate relationship a lot.
Yep. So anyway, what do you think about the psychology now that we've discussed what the FBI psychology is behind this type of thing? I don't buy the whole Odinism bullshit. I don't buy any of it.
I don't know what to think about it. I mean, I don't buy into it, but I don't automatically just
Well,
it's on the table for me.
I'm going to tell you, as far as Odinism, people can practice Norse religion if that's what they want, if they want to, but from what I understand about Odinism, you don't sacrifice children. So there's that.
But I also know that people can kind of do their own thing,
Mm-hmm.
Like they can have their own. They can be confused, and they can do things their own way. Maybe even tie in a little bit of witchcraft, Satanism. They're not quite sure what they're doing.
I think it's a convenient excuse.
Well, it's just
he
it's an
sees
excuse
bad-
for sure.
and
It's a
you
way
think
for them.
Think
Go
about
ahead.
the position that he's in. You had a commenter say that they were treating Richard Allen with kid gloves.
Oh yeah.
Now imagine, and I kind of tend to agree with that because I
Well,
know
she said
where
that I thought that. She said that I thought that.
No, she was saying why. When she said, "Why do you think they're treating Richard Allen with kid gloves?"
Yeah, that's what she
That
said.
could mean that maybe she is thinking that. Just putting the question out there. I don't think she was accusing you of it.
Oh, I thought she was saying that I thought that they were treating him with kids' gloves. And I've said multiple times that I don't think people should be held in solitary confinement regardless. But that's a separate fact, like that's a political argument. You need to take that up with the federal government and your local and state stuff.
Well, I think for someone in the position that he's in, imagine if he's innocent. Okay, so first of all, in solitary, it's a matter of protection, and that's why they call it protective custody.
Yeah.
You're in ISO because, realistically speaking, if you send somebody to a prison, not necessarily county jail. County jail, you just get your ass kicked, and they'll torment the shit out of you every day, because you know how chomos are treated when you're incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
So if you imagine someone going to a prison and the guards, instantly hating because they believe he's guilty. They've seen this stuff a number of times. Well, I'm not going to say all of them because most guards don't. I shouldn't use the words most, and I should phrase this differently because I don't want to stereotype anyway. But guards are either one of two ways. They're either emotionally involved or they're like, just shut the hell up and let me do my job.
Yeah, just count the minutes.
Yeah, just let me do this, what I have to do to keep you safe, keep me safe, and everybody goes home at the end of the day. That's a good guard. The ones that get emotionally involved or charged, they could absolutely be disgusted by this person and make inappropriate comments to him and everything. I could see that, but I mean, that's prison life, so, but I think even if they did wear their religious patches, it's no different than somebody wearing a cross or somebody wearing a Jewish star, the Star of David. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I don't think any of that should be allowed.
I think it should be kept separate from work.
Yeah, I agree.
Separation of church and state, and they represent the state.
Welcome in, Keith. This guy says, Sleuth, where was this plea you and Frank Meister and Ruckus were guaranteeing? Are we going to get one the day before trial begins? I'll say maybe even by the 23rd. But that's just my opinion, Keith. Since when am I an expert? I didn't know I was an expert. I didn't know I was supposed to have all the answers. Yeah. You guys didn't know that I was a defense attorney for 20 years? No, I'm just a guy creating a platform for you to have a safe space. Dude.
That video you shared, that second dude, not the first one, not Kevin, but the second one, where the guy dismembered his neighbor?
Oh, yeah. McDaniel. Stephen McDaniel.
Did you notice how he instantly did a flip of his brain?
Yeah.
Now, if you go back, and I've got some really great close-ups of Bridge Guy.
What's up, LA?
Huh?
No, I was just saying what's up to LA to people coming in.
I've got some really good close-ups. You can see him smoking, but the one thing, even on the pictures that, Indiana State Police shared, is when you look at that eye, the left eye, you zoom in on it, that is tunnel vision with evil. Have you seen the close-up of that eye, that intensity?
I think I have a couple.
The left eye of Bridge Guy.
That's a pretty good one right
That
there.
that is evil stalking.
Yeah, here you can kind of see the full face right here.
I'm not watching your video, honey. I'm actually looking at it because I don't want feedback. So I'm actually looking at a picture of Jeffrey Dahmer from '91, a mugshot. But that was one of his big things. His whole thing, Jeffrey Dahmer, was not that he was gay, because people were openly gay back in the 90s. It was his fear of abandonment that drove his motive for killing and eventually eating his victims. He could never be satisfied because he was always afraid that he was going to be abandoned by the people he wanted.
He didn't want to leave them. That's why he kept them in his fridge too and ate them, to become part of him.
Exactly. That's the psychopathy behind it.
Yep. I think Israel Keys kind of did that with one of his victims too.
I don't know what when we worked on Samantha's case, it was God love the poor girl. He painted her face and did her makeup in a trailer next to his house when his girlfriend and kid were in the house. She was out there dead. He was putting her makeup on.
God. To think that we're just living amongst people like this, it's pretty scary.
One of the first things about serial killers is that they really have no meaning or drive or motivation in life.
They're kind of bored.
Yeah. They can't find a normal sense of fulfillment. And so that's why they'll hype themselves up. A lot of them will do speed, coke, whatever, alcohol, hype themselves up so they can actually feel something. And that's one of the reasons why, they kill the first time, it's not as good. They got to escalate the crime. That's one of the reasons why I don't believe if Richard Allen is the killer. It's one of the reasons I don't believe it was the first time, because most people don't start out with two. The odds in that are millions to one. Usually, if they're going to start out and kill two people, they're going to take their own life because they know they're going to get caught. But if you look at the position that Delphi was in, it had to be somebody that knew the area, knew the terrain.
Yeah, he didn't want to get caught.
Exactly, and knew where to take him. I don't think he killed Abby or Libby because he didn't want to get caught. I think he had to kill Abby because she was in the way of fulfilling his fantasy with Libby.
Or vice versa.
Yeah. Well, no. Libby in particular, because she was the one that was not dressed. She was found,
Yeah, but that could say the same thing because Abby was dressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but so the other part of that is parts of Libby were exposed according to the courthouse. Oh God, what do you call it? The statement that came out. Court record. According to court record, part of her was exposed. Libby.
Yeah.
and that would go to sexual fantasy. You know, and it would also explain again why he apologized for Abby but not for Libby.
Yeah, that would make more sense about that part. Him not feeling it was necessary to kill Abby, but just having to do it out of necessity.
Exactly. Because, and see, a lot of people don't understand this about serial killers. Not all of them want to kill. Not all of them have that deep drive to kill somebody. Some of them kill out of fear. Some of them kill out of fear of rejection, fear of getting caught. Sometimes the murder is just incidental. And I'll give you an example. Samuel Little is the most prolific serial killer the United States has ever seen. Okay? He's killed over 100 women that they know of. Or I think 90 something that they know of. Okay? So anyway, he couldn't achieve sexual ejaculation unless he was actually strangling somebody.
Yeah, he was a pure sadist.
Yeah.
So what do you think his motive for saying that, or I mean, obviously nobody knows for sure, but for saying, like, why would he apologize for Abby but not Libby publicly? Do you think it just didn't, like?
Well, he hasn't publicly said anything.
I thought
No,
he
he
did.
talked-
I thought he publicly apologized.
Richard
Like,
Allen? No.
yeah.
He was
said-
talking it.
okay.
Yeah, he was like talking in his jail cell and was overheard.
Oh,
Kind of talking
okay.
to himself.
I was
and
mistaken
praying.
then. Okay,
He was
gotcha.
recorded talking to his wife and his mother admitting to killing them, and also to a psychologist, but not in public.
Got it. Okay, thank you for clearing that up because that was something that confused me for a while.
But why? Why only her?
You know,
I guess my question was more like, why would he admit to being, remorseful for one but not the other?
Well,
Not
that's what we
necessarily
were
like
discussing.
why.
That was what we were discussing earlier. So, for a lot of people that kill their objects, it's because they're afraid they're too close. So, for example, if Libby was the object of his fantasy, the fear of rejection would cause them. So, what they'll do is they'll kill instead of. They're so terrified of rejection, they'll kill versus being rejected. So
Yeah, they're already angry
Right.
about the rejection without it even happening.
without it even happening, but then if you have in the instance talking about, the girls coming across the bridge, is that weird guy still following us? Oh God, there's that creepy guy again. I mean, talk about setting somebody off.
Right. No, my question was, and it doesn't, hold any credence anymore. I thought he publicly said that he was apologizing for Abby and not Libby, and I was wondering what his motive would be to do that, like say that publicly. I
Well, I
guess.
say there's two ways of looking at it. Is that he was targeting Libby and he's sorry that he had to do that out of necessity, or he's sorry that he did it because he was targeting her and Libby just happened to be there protecting her. So only he's going to be able to answer that.
Right. I guess I was just, I don't know. I was wondering like why he would want specifically people to know that he was, sorry
And the
for
way
Abby,
I
but
understood
not
it,
Libby.
like this was around the time he was like finding God and searching for forgiveness and things like that. I think he was overheard actually praying.
Sounds like
when he
a
mentioned
last-ditch
Abby.
effort for people who don't have faith to begin with.
Yeah, and what does he need forgiveness for? Right?
Exactly.
Like if he's
I
an
agree.
innocent man, he would already be going to heaven and he's just another victim, of the circumstance. So he
Oh,
doesn't
that's
need
true.
forgiveness.
I mean, honestly, I pray for forgiveness every day because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I say all
Right.
the time, Lord, I'm an idiot. Please forgive me.
Yes.
Right. But you, well, as far as I know, haven't murdered anybody, I hope.
No, I haven't.
But it doesn't sound like he had a whole lot of faith to begin with. So I
Yeah.
feel like this was really like his just last ditch effort to, I don't know. It's the only relationship he's ever going to have inside of a cell ever again. That's for sure.
Well, I don't know, maybe not.
Thanks,
I
Joe.
hope so.
You never know.
So what do you guys think is going to happen during the first week of this trial coming up?
I think he won't say anything. I think he's going to wait and see what his cards are and hear all the testimony before he decides. But by that point, I think Nick McClelland is going to be, he's going to know whether or not they've got him because, you know, he's a prosecutor and he's going to know what that jury's thinking at that point. And then he's going to have to put it on a scale, you know, should I offer him a plea or should I not? Now, if he doesn't think he's got him and there's a possibility of him getting off, then I think Nick McClelland will offer him the deal. But if he knows that they've got him, he's not going to offer him the deal at that point. He'll ask the family.
Can you even offer a plea after the trial has officially started?
Yeah, it's
Sure.
not usually on the table, but yeah, definitely at any point.
At any point before it goes to the jury.
That's why I say the 23rd. If he's going to plead, it's going to happen by the 23rd. They're going to get a good feel for the jury. They're going to hear everything laid out by the prosecution and their strategy. You know, everything's going to be out on the table by then. So if it will happen, that's my prediction.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm not a big fan of them trying to blame cults either. You know, look what happened to the Memphis Three. And they were completely innocent. The guy that actually committed the murder, the rape and murder of the little boy was,
Terry Hobbs?
yeah, admitted it, convicted. But the Memphis Three were still stuck with Alford pleas. I mean, that's not justice, in my opinion. They weren't exonerated. They got Alford pleas so they could get out of jail immediately versus having to stay there and go through trial when they know they actually got the guy through DNA.
Yeah, the state, they have justice. Like there's still that guilty charge there.
If
They have
somebody,
their men.
the only reason I would ever support like an Alfred plea is if somebody was actually guilt or innocent, and then they just knew they weren't gonna, you know, convince the jury otherwise. And
Yeah,
so
that happened to my cousin.
yeah, and it does happen, unfortunately. And I feel like there's no way around it. But when, you know, actual guilty parties take the Alfred plea, I'm just like, you fucking coward.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Okay, my cousin, police knocked on his door. He let him in. Sure, you can look at my computer. He was downloading movies. There were some unopened trailers on the movies that were CSAM. He had no idea. But when they searched through his computer, they found 2 images, and he got charged with 2 images of CSAM. Neither one of those images were open. They had a state psychologist and a private psychologist, or state psychiatrist, private psychiatrist, examine him. No, he's not, you know, he's not a chomo. He's not a pedophile. These images were never viewed by him. Okay.
And some people get set up that way too. Like they'll get sent an email or they'll get hacked and it'll be placed on their system.
Oh, I've gotten so many of those spams before.
Guess what? He got 4 years in jail because the judge didn't want to hear any of it. This is a crippled man who can't walk.
And I know this doesn't matter, but like in terms of integrity, but like for this specific reason, but did he have any priors maybe?
No, never been arrested in his life.
That's insane.
In fact, he's a little slow. And I think that weighed into the judge's decision.
I feel like, and I hate to say it, I feel like there might have been a bit of sexism that went into that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We are definitely running out of time. So if you guys want to go ahead and give me a final, like a final statement here, and we'll close it out.
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't really have anything of substance. Yep. Nope. That's it. Goodbye. I will see y'all later.
Thanks, Julia.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, honey. So my final thought is I'm praying for all the missing people out there and the families who miss them. It's a horrible, horrible thing to go through. And I'm praying for the families this week because all of the old wounds are going to be reopened.
Yeah, did you see the post by Becky today?
No.
She said, "This is how we will remember you," and it was this beautiful picture of Libby with this glowing smile.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't help but think, like, the whole crime scene debacle and all the stuff that's going on with trial, and Richard Allen offering to give a Bible to the victims, and then Kathy Allen's attorneys quoting Kelsey German and stuff. Shit like that just really bothers me.
It's very disrespectful.
Yeah, it's in bad taste.
I can't talk about that. You know why? You got the email.
Yeah.
So, on that note, praying for the families, because even though this trial process gives them some answers, it's still going to be for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I mean, there's no justice, really.
There isn't. Yeah, well, there is, but it's not in this lifetime. There is a hell.
Yep.
And justice will be served, whether they realize it or not. So, it is what it is. But anyway, thank you again for another great discussion, and hopefully, we'll hear and see justice for Abby and Libby soon, and Elizabeth and Lyric and every other missing person out there.
Yeah, I hope to hear from you again.
All right, well, you pick funny times of the day to do your open panel.
Yeah, it's just whenever family time kind of starts dying down and they're busy, and they don't need me anymore, then I just kind of
You're in
wander off.
Arizona. You're up late tonight.
It's 8:30 here.
Yeah,
I go to bed. I'll go to sleep here in about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost midnight here. I'm in Eastern time.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I say it's odd hours.
For you, huh? And most of my viewers who are definitely in the Midwest.
Yeah. All right, Sleuth. Well, you have a good night, hon.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. We'll catch up on the chat, and then we're going to wrap it up. I just want to say thank you to Joey Hathers for the flex. She says justice for Abby and Libby. Thank you for that, Hathers. And thank you for your support, for being a member. Joey for sponsoring. Thank you for all of those super stickers. Appreciate you. GP with the big flex. Look at those biceps. Thank you for supporting my channel. Cindy Lean flexing on them. And $5 super chat. So thank you guys for supporting me the way that you do. Welcome in Jessica. Welcome back, Louise. Did I miss anybody? The Red Queen. Yeah, because most of these killers and predators, they're cowards. They don't want anybody to put up a fight. They're not looking to get their ass kicked. They're looking to victimize somebody. They don't want any resistance. At least most of them don't. They just have this fantasy of sexual assault, kidnapping, and killing, and then eventually it just spews out into the real world. That's probably what we're dealing with with the Delphi case. Hey, CJK. Olivia 2. Humanimal, good to see you. Fantasy is fantasy. If it stays in the mind or consensual role play, it's probably a common thought. Metal Mama Michelle. Keith, where's the plea? Here, this is what you want me to say. I was wrong. Is that what you were waiting for? I don't have a problem saying that, buddy. I was wrong. Daisy, thank you for the super chat. Sleuth, does the gag order end now, or will family be gagged during trial? I'm not sure what the rules are on that. That's a good question. You know, it seems like it's all going to be made public now. You know, definitely during the opening statements. Oh, that's interesting, Joey. Keith, why no plea? You said there would be a plea. I said my opinion. I still believe there's going to be a plea. I say no later than the 23rd. What's with this guy? Sleuth, you were wrong. Yeah, maybe I was wrong. It's not the end of the world. It's okay. Keith can speak his mind, but I think he's expecting me to be kind of triggered by it. But I don't have a problem being wrong. I've never claimed to be an expert. I mean, I didn't even know when they picked a jury. Johnny Blaze, just a question. Do you have any criminal justice degrees? No, not even close. We were just talking about a guy named Johnny Blaze. That's interesting. Keith says, just don't know why, since he follows everything, Frank Meister and Ruckus say that he could help me understand why they were guaranteeing a plea. They all three sounded so confident. Well, I don't speak for Frank Meister or Ruckus. I speak for myself. You okay, Keith? You seem a little, seem like you got an issue. We welcome all opinions around here, Keith. People just have to suffer through mine. But I welcome, as long as you can agree to disagree and you don't act like a triggered troll, speak your mind. Doesn't bother me one bit. Just don't be a weirdo. It's pretty easy. A lot of people on my channel didn't agree with me that he would plea. I said, my opinion is that he will take a plea. I still believe he's going to plea. And the only reason I say that is because I've covered plenty of cases where day one of trial or the day after they hear the opening statements or the day after jury selection, they make the decision like, hey, you know, I'm going to plea. And not always do they even get a deal. They don't even get a plea bargain. They just don't want to go through the process. And they're looking for leniency. Exactly, Louise. As long as we keep our cool, we don't act like weirdos, you can continue to hang out here. He still could plea. I agree. I think it's possible. I mean, it's not looking like it's likely, but I believe by the 23rd. Cindy says, Keith, that is their own opinion. You have yours. And if you're calling in right now, sorry, but we're getting ready to close out. I'm just catching up on the chat. But yeah, we're not taking any more calls. CJK says he thinks he can beat the rap. I hope the evidence is as strong as the evil, actually stronger. Keith says you can't just do a 180 because you're wrong. Am I doing a 180? This entire Allen is guilty no matter what. Crew guaranteed. I never said. I always say if he's the killer. If you can show me one time where I said 100% Richard Allen is guilty, so you're misquoting me. So you obviously don't watch my channel. So now I'm not as worried about what you have to say because you're not informed on my content. I never once guaranteed a plea, and I never even once guaranteed that Richard Allen was guilty. I always say, if he's the killer, I've always said that. What's your opinion? You think he's innocent? Ed Kemper. I agree with that. He does. We did kind of compare Richard Allen, if he was, if he's the killer, to Ed Kemper. The way that he hung out, Kemper hung out at the bars, talked with law enforcement. Kind of reminds me, if Richard Allen is the killer, he would, he came forward early on. I called it proactive countermeasures. No one guaranteed anything. You are only guaranteed to pay taxes. Yeah, death and taxes. Keith Daisy, how is it childish to ask why they guaranteed a plea? Well, I never guaranteed a plea, so. Keith, you cannot guarantee something that is not in your control. Exactly. And I say this all the time and time again. I say this is just a safe space where people can express their own opinions, and unfortunately, you have to suffer through mine. That's the price you pay. That's it. Some are willing to pay that price. But not once have I ever claimed to be right, or claimed to be an expert, or claimed to know the future. I agree with that, Louise. That's why he didn't have any faith in God. I just find it strange that now he needs forgiveness. If Richard Allen is innocent, what does he need forgiveness for? He said, this was the quote, I believe, I will never be with my family again in this lifetime, but I still have a chance to see them in the afterlife. Okay, why? If he's an innocent man, what does he need to be forgiven for? Yeah, and I also said that I hoped for a trial. I said I believe there's going to be a plea deal, but I hope for a trial. That way we can at least maybe get some answers as to why this happened. Thank you, Jari. If you guys need to get a hold of me, hit me at sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Yeah, thank you, Cindy. Louise says, I don't believe in religion. I do. I'm Christian. I'm not a Bible thumper, but I believe in Jesus. I pray constantly. Keith, you're not betting on the case, are you? He's like, I got money on Richard Allen. 10-1 odds. Depends on what Satanist you're looking at. You have a few different types of Satanists. You have Satanists that are just anti-religion. They're more contrarian. And then you have some that actually sacrifice children and drink blood and do a lot of sick shit. All right, let's zoom on down. Humanimal, he didn't have to know. Louise, that area was held under microscope because of Abby and Libby's death. Yep, 100%. I think the mods are getting a little trolley vibe from you, Keith. You seem a little obsessed. You don't seem like you're open to having a discussion. You seem more triggered. You're harping. What's up, Phil Bond? Johnny Blaze, this woman has no idea what she's talking about. I thought she was pretty spot on. Where was she wrong? Enlighten us. Yeah. Oh, I agree about that. If that's what he's referring to, I believe that they're everywhere. If you put any area under a microscope, you're going to see killers and child molesters and sex offenders. That's why I worry about you guys. That's why I worry about my family. Because I know that. I know for a fact that they're everywhere. They're surrounding us. So you guys be careful. Would plea, I hate that the families will have to hear and see all of the gory details. Yep. Yeah, I agree with you, Humanimal. Yep. Every city, every town, I think every area, you're going to have plenty of registered sex offenders. Yep, that's true, Joey. Their own modus operandi. Yeah, Keith, you're welcome to express yourself, buddy. But when you start acting like a trigger troll, it gets distracting, that's all. Just try to contain yourself. Have some self-control. But I believe in God. Having a religion doesn't make a person good or bad. As we know, plenty of abusers in and out of church being kind. Yep. And that's just my opinion. Like, I'm not a firm believer in religion. I like to have a personal relationship, with who I call God or who I believe God is. Hey, Solar Chef Steph, what's up? And we're going to get out of here in about 8 minutes. So hopefully I can catch up on the chat. And then I got to go to bed. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Luis, why are sex offenders looked at first? I think sex offenders are looked at first because it shows issues with their, like a compulsion where they can't control themselves. People that are sex offenders, they're having fantasies and then they can't control their sexual urges. And they're expressed outward, not just, as fantasies. So people who can't control themselves usually become killers. Oh, God. Keith, I mean, you obviously trying to get yourself booted out of here, so I'm just going to ignore you in the however long the mods can tolerate you. You obviously don't give a shit about my channel. You're just in here distracting. Nobody cares if we're wrong. I don't speak for Frank. I don't speak for anybody. And I don't mind being wrong. It's just my opinion. The violent crimes against women escalate. Exactly. That's what it is. It's a buildup. It's an escalation. They're trying to find their way to fulfill the ultimate fantasies, which is rape and then murder. But it usually begins with attempted kidnapping, sexual assaults, burglaries, stalking. But now, thanks to the internet, you have catfishing. Keith, how am I trolling by asking these YouTubers to explain something they guaranteed? Well, first of all, I've never guaranteed anything. And you're trolling. You're absolutely trolling. And we're being very patient with you, if you ask me. Extremely patient. So I'm going to do my best to give you another shot. Hopefully you can kind of cool out, because I don't want to feel like I'm not allowing you to speak your opinion, but you're really, at this point, you're just, seems like an attack of some sorts. Yeah, and that's it. You keep saying that I guaranteed something, but I wouldn't do that, and I didn't do that. So, right there, that's a lie. And I'm going to give you another chance, buddy. But I feel like you're trying to get blocked, so. Yeah, that's true. Joey says they look at sex offenders because most crimes are sex related. Yeah, motivated by some kind of weird urge, fantasy. There you go, you manimal. Says, hey, Keith, throw a handful of rice. You'll hit thousands of things people have claimed to know or things that are 100% false. Aquarian, what happened to the other guests? Well, we're trying to end the show here. It's going to be a 2-hour show, and then I got to go to bed. I'm just trying to finish up with the chat. Okay, let me zip on down. Let's see if there's anybody that I missed before I get out of here. Sleuth, watch her using the term chomo. Your channel can get flagged. I think we'll be all right. It was the same way with Russian serial killer Audra Chikatilo. He could not have sex the normal way, but he found he could get off by stabbing his... Yeah, that's a sexual sadist. Yeah, good luck with that, Luis. You keep searching, you'll find it. You'll find what you're looking for, I promise. Yep, I agree, Joey. CJK, was said during the 3-day hearings on the stand, Allen wanted to essay the girls. Yeah, that was his confession to Dr. Walla, that his motivation was he was sexually motivated, and that he killed the girls because he didn't want them to tell on him. And also, guys, my box cutters came in and I did a few tests about 15 minutes before we went live, and I think I need to... They're inconclusive, so let me run a few more tomorrow. But this first test is creating serrated-like cuts, or I don't know what you would call them. But I think we need to do a few more tests before I show you the results. Right now, they're inconclusive. All right, I'm going to zip all the way to the bottom. Pitbull Mom, I think I missed you. Welcome in. It's good to see you, Mark Evans. I think so too, Mark. I think he was under the influence of something. Seriously, I agree with you. I think there were some contributing factors, something like that. Shadowbox, what's up? Hey, Kitty, how you doing? Welcome in. Says, I think Abby's sitting on the freezing ground, gun pointed at her, and knife up to Libby standing. Are you talking about how he was able to accomplish hurting both girls simultaneously? You might be right. He definitely... That's probably why the bullet was on the ground. He was definitely using it to intimidate them. Thank you, GP. All right, let me zip down here. And if I miss you, I apologize. Good to see you, Cindy. Thank you for sharing that, Pitbull Mom. And all of you who continue to donate to my Cash App, thank you guys so much. You make this possible. Members, same to you. And all you mods who help control the trolls. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm just doing my best to create a safe space for you guys and a platform for victims' families, and to continue bringing attention to a lot of these cases. You know, we don't only just cover Delphi, but I think we can learn a lot about almost any case by studying what happened there to Abby and Libby. We can learn a whole lot, not only about the justice system, but about the investigation process, the do's and don'ts, how to treat the family members of victims. You know, we can glean a whole lot. It's a good litmus. Lone Pony. I don't see what he would gain from a plea. The only thing I can see him gaining from a plea would be maybe some leniency, and also sparing his family from hearing the details about what he did and his inability to contain himself during the trial. Basically showing how guilty he is while they're talking about blood spatter and showing crime scene photos. And then reporters talking about how he's reacting, you know. I think just sparing his wife and his daughter, knowing who he is potentially, right? If he was motivated, if this was a sexually motivated crime and he couldn't control himself, and then he killed those girls because he didn't want to get caught, and he's been hiding for 6 years, and he's been dragging this process on, it seems like it all kind of fits into a profile of a guy who doesn't want his family to know who he is on the inside. You know, this guy that he's been able to hide his entire life. But once that becomes a realization, he's not, you know, it'll be his last act as a potential psychopath, right? All they want to do is to have total control. And, you know, to shut down the entire trial, that's under his control, you know? So I think that would be the only motivation. Spare his family, and then also to take control of the process. If he says, hey, I plead guilty, he shuts down everything. Cindy Lean. Yep, I question that as well. I'm confused on that. They have DNA evidence, and part of the Alfred agreement was that they will never ever test that DNA evidence ever. And that could be the reason that Damian Eccles is out there preaching, right? Oh, we're going to get this tested, and I'm fighting to, you know, I need to prove my innocence, knowing damn well that part of the agreement was that they will never ever ever test that evidence. I mean, 2 months ago, he claimed that he was going to get it tested in like 12 days. Well, 12 days have come and gone. Still no test. And the scary thing is, if they do ever test that DNA, it might belong to him. So just as much as it could prove it that he's innocent, it could prove his guilt as well. Johnny Blaze, 85 to 90% of all cases end with a plea. Okay, let's take one or two more, and then I gotta go. Hey, Tech Death. Look at that handsome guy. Good night, Humanimal. Thanks again, Daisy. Good night, Jari. Thanks for calling in, TC. Praying for justice for Abby and Libby, Elizabeth and Lyric. Yeah, great call-in. All right, who did I miss? Let's keep going. Vertigo. What up, my friend? BN Mama. So I hope you guys have a great night. Replay crew, you know exactly what to do. New house. First thing I did was check the registry. Boom. One right down the street. To a couple residential blocks over. Yeah, they're everywhere. You put any area under a microscope, you're going to see what I mean. Co-Mama 23. What's up? You also look at the Son of Sam. Wait, sexual offenders first because history is the best predictor of the future. Yeah, I agree with that. Hey, Mustang. All right. I apologize if I couldn't get to all of your comments, but we are out of time. Big shout out to all my callers. You guys rock. Will you show us the fish flop dance video? Oh, you guys want to end with that? Hopefully I have it where I can get to it. All right, guys, we're gonna end with this video, so make sure you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much. Replay crew, you know what to do. Drop a comment and we'll get back to you. You guys shoot me an email if you need me, sleuthintuition@gmail.com. And we are out of here.
What a day was not for me. The conscience of united